Hey, everybody. Happy New Year. Thanks for joining us here again. Much appreciated. Let me know down in the comments real quick that you can hear and see me okay. And we'll jump in here and get started. I hope everybody's new year so far is going great. Hard to believe that it's already 2025. So exciting things ahead for the year. And hope everybody's excited to jump in and attack it with a vengeance. Cool. Hi, Eva, Kimmy, and Tiffany. Fantastic. Happy New Year to y'all. So today, we're going to kind of go over, if you guys didn't see the post, I guess it was actually yesterday, on some of the new updates that we have with Shopify that makes that whole integration a lot easier to use and manage. So now variant images will automatically be assigned when you publish a product, which is a huge plus. So we'll talk through a little bit on how that functionality works. And then you're also now able to update products after you publish them to Shopify. So you don't have to publish a whole new product just because you made some changes to variations or anything like that. So we'll kind of talk through those updates as well. But also kind of wanted to walk through another demo with you guys like we usually do on a new design. With Valentine's Day right around the corner, I thought we would walk through Valentine's Day product that is trending and kind of is always trending. I think we may have done a similar example to this once before, but if we have, it's been a while. So I thought it'd be a good one to go over again. And then, like I said, after we go through that demo, we'll talk through some of the Shopify updates. So coolio, let's jump in and get started here. All right, let's see here. Let me share my screen. Okay. Cool. Actually, you know what? Let me pull up. Let's pull this up in Etsy first. And I kind of show you some of the stuff in case you didn't see, or maybe I'll pull up the thumbnail. In case you guys didn't see some of the kind of design inspiration that I was looking at when I was looking at different products here. So give me 1 second. Let me see if I can get that pulled up here. Okay, cool. All right. And let me share here. Okay. Cool. Okay. So the idea here of basically this song player, if you guys haven't seen this before, it is a pretty popular trending design, and it's something that can be used on a lot of different products, right? So anything from the shine on acrylic plaques like you see here would be a good one for it. Also, here is an example of it on a blanket that looked like it was doing really well on Etsy. And then something that I hadn't really explored further before, but also being able to do this similar type of design on a coffee mug, I thought was a really unique idea, especially if you did something like the player on one side of the mug, and then you could kind of have the opposite side of the mug be the spot for the photo upload if they wanted to offer that. So this design I'm going to show, I'm going to kind of go through it on probably shine on acrylic plaque here, but this same concept you can use on a multitude of different products, and I think it works well on a lot of different products as well. So that's kind of what we're going to be going for and working on designing here. So let me jump over to this tab. So here is kind of a example of one that I've done in the past, where you can kind of have an optional title up here at the top if you're wanting to target something more for an anniversary. Doing that kind of makes this more evergreen. I would probably make that top title field optional. So if they don't want to have anything up there, they don't have to. If they want something custom, they can do that. And then they're going to provide you a photo and then 2 text personalization fields for the song and the artist that they want on here. Now, one thing I wanted to mention on this up front, if you're looking at other examples of this and other things, sometimes you will see where they will add the option to have um, it's actually a Spotify code that shows up at the bottom. And let me see if I can find one here real quick to show you guys, because quite a few people do it, even though it is a copyrighted thing and not something that I recommend, which is why I wanted to bring it up. So if you guys saw that, you would know that it's probably not something you want to do. Let me find one here. Okay, share tab. So this kind of that shows up down here at the bottom, that is actually a Spotify code. You can scan that with Spotify and it'll pull up that song, which is really cool, but is against Spotify's terms of service to actually use that on any products that you're selling. So I do not recommend doing that. The closest you could get to that would be to do a like QR code. Um, Frankly, the ones that I've seen with QR codes, I don't think they look as nice. I think that kind of takes away from it because you got like this square code that now you're trying to fit into the corner. If you wanted to do that though, you can, just not the Spotify one. I would not recommend doing that one. Okay, so let me jump back over here to AnywherePOD here. And I don't remember what the dimensions are here for the acrylic. So we'll go find our, did not want jewelry. We'll go find our acrylic here. And we're going to go with the square acrylic. I'll just go into start designing. So it is 3540 by 3186. So I'll come back over here to Canva and we'll go to create new design and custom size. What did I say? 3540 by 3186 and create new design. Now, as I'm doing this, actually, the way I'm probably going to design this, since the majority of, let's see, that grabbed me a new tab, since the majority of the elements that are going to be on this are going to be personalized, let me just pull up here a second page. And I'm going to grab my example to pull into here so we can see that at the same time. Here we go. Let me kind of blow this up. So we have the optional text at the top. We have the image here in the middle. Really, the only stuff that is not personalized that really kind of needs to be a part of our design is this player options that are down here at the bottom. So that's really the only thing that we need in our design for this particular one. So coming back up here to page one, if we come over here to design options and we do a search for player, not templates, I want elements, player, right here is this song player that they have available here in Canva kind of already for us. So really, we just need this element downloaded as its own. And then we're also going to need our photo upload portion here in the middle. Since we have rounded corners here, we want to be able to have those rounded corners in AnywherePOD and have that work with our image cropper as well. So we'll go ahead and add an element for that here as well. Let me do a search here for frames, and I just want this one here with a rounded corner. We can shrink this down just a little bit here. So what I'm going to do is add a placeholder image. Let me find one that I have to this frame. There we go. Okay, so we'll drop this image into this frame here, adjust it down a little bit like so. So this will be our placeholder image that we'll use. So really to build this product in AnywherePOD, all we need is this image element and then the player at the bottom, and we can upload those as two separate elements and then add in the other text fields inside of AnywherePOD. So instead of downloading this as one full design, I'm just going to download those as two individual elements that I can then build and create in AnywherePOD. So to do that, if you guys haven't seen before, what we want to do is download just this image. Now, unfortunately, Canva doesn't give us an easy way to just download this one image. You'll see if I right click on it here, there's no download option or anything here. So we kind of have to trick Canva a little bit and have a little bit of a workaround to get around that kind of limitation by Canva. And the workaround for that is if you select more than one element in Canva, then you can download it. So we're going to kind of trick it by putting a transparent rectangle over the top of our image, and then we can select both of those items, and then we're able to download. And since our rectangle is transparent, it's essentially just downloading the one element that we need. So we're kind of getting around Canva's kind of little limitation there. So to add that rectangle, what we're going to do is just push R on our keyboard, and that's going to add us this rectangle here. Now we need to make this transparent. So to do that, up here at the top, you'll see here in this little circle, there's where it says color. We'll click on that. And then over here on the left, we have the option for no color, and that's going to make that transparent. So you can see if we click off of it now, looks like there's nothing there, but we know there's another object there. So now we just need to select both of those objects. There's a couple different ways we can do that. We can click over here and drag and highlight and select both of those. We can select, click on the image, hold our shift key, and click on the transparent one. That'll select them both as well. Once we have them both selected, if we right click, you'll see down here at the bottom now, there is the option for download selection. So that's what we're looking for. So we're going to click on that guy and download selection, and we'll make sure. So one of the things that I almost just did it just now, one of the things I often forget when I'm downloading frames like this is I'll forget to check this box that says transparent background. What that does is, since I have rounded corners, if I don't check transparent background, my corners are actually going to be square. They're going to have a white background. So when I use this in the image cropper, since that area is not transparent, it's not going to have that rounded border. It's going to have square borders, which kind of defeats the purpose of what we're going for here. So make sure to select that box that says transparent background, and we'll hit download. That'll download that placeholder image for us. And now we just want to do the same thing with the player image here. So we're going to take this transparent rectangle and shrink it down so it fits just inside of our player. Hold down shift so we select both of our objects, and we'll right click and say download selection again. This time you can see it's going to download just the player elements for us. So we'll leave that set and go to download that now as well. So that'll give us those two objects now that we can then use to actually build this product over in AnywherePOD. So if I jump over to AnywherePOD, and we're already here in the square acrylic plaque from earlier when I was looking up that size. So we're good to go there. So we're going to select both of our variants here at the top. And now what we want to do is go to add image. And we want to select the two elements that we just downloaded from Canva. So we'll put that here and resize it a bit, get it centered. And then we'll add our player image that we'll put down here at the bottom. And that's going to upload really large. So we can shrink that down quite a bit. That's looking pretty good. We could probably go a little bit bigger actually here with both the, so we'll put that all the way at the bottom. And then let me just see here. Yeah, so we just need to make sure that we're kind of saving space in between here for our song title and artist. So we probably could have made this a little bit wider in Canva before we downloaded it, but I think you'll get kind of the idea here. Okay, so we have those two elements. We want to make sure. Okay, so this is going to be our we'll just say photo upload here. So we're got that labeled so we don't get confused later on. And then here, this is going to be our player image. So if we come back to our photo upload, we want to make sure to mark that as personalized. And then we also want to make sure that we have that, which should be checked by default, but have marked here the enable image cropper. What that's going to do in particular, if you're using Shopify, but even if you're on Etsy, when you get the image from the customer, you're going to be able to upload that directly to AnywherePOD, and you'll get that same box with the square corners, and you can kind of drag it around and make sure that you're getting the actual subjects that are in the photo is what's added there. So if they upload something that's completely different dimensions or more of a landscape photo or anything like that, it's still going to look like it does on our sample design here. So, and since we already have our image in the shape that we want, meaning with the rounded corners, we do not need this second option for crop to custom shape because we already have it in the shape that we want, and it's going to kind of use that shape by default for us. So we should all be good there. So now we need to add in our 2 text fields. So I'm going to say add text field here. So here you can either do something like your artist name. Now where this can get a little bit tricky if you are on Etsy is that, shrink that down just a little bit, is that Etsy doesn't want you to have placeholder text on the primary photo in Etsy. They want you to have actual text that the customer might actually receive. The problem is if you do that here, you could very easily be getting into copyright issues if you use an actual artist's name and an actual song. So you can probably look up either put in something that's just kind of fake and made up here, or you can look up songs that are in the public domain that you're allowed to use the artist and song name for. So those are kind of your two options there. So we'll go artist name. We'll mark that as personalized. Of course, if we wanted to change this to a different font, that we could. And we'll go ahead and duplicate this. And we'll bring this one down a little bit. We need that left aligned as well. And here we'll say your song name. And we'll shrink this down a little bit so it is a little bit smaller than the top one. That's usually how those are laid out. We've already got that marked as personalized, so we should be all set with that. And we should be good here. Like I said, you could kind of shrink all this down a little bit and have a second title here at the top that could be like happy second anniversary or anything like that. And have that. If I did that, I would probably make that as an optional field. That's kind of up to you if you want to have that up there or not. So we've got those two. Let's also go ahead before I forget. Let's put these in the order that I want. So especially if you're on Shopify, the order that your layers are over here is the same order that your fields will show up in when the product is over on Shopify. So in this case, I want my photo upload at the top, and then we'll have our artist name, then we'll have our song name. We'll also update our option titles here. This is the label of the field that'll show up in Shopify. So this one we can just say upload photo. Here we can say enter artist. And then for this one, we'll say enter song. Okay, so all set there. So we will now create this product. And like usual, this is going to go through and generate the placeholder artwork for us. And then it's also going to generate mockups that are available for us from Shine On. So you can see here right now, I just have the one mockup from Shine On. If I want to add a few more mockups, I can come through here and let's see if I can find a few others to select here. Okay, so let's go through. Okay, so I've got a few of all. So we'll generate mockups. So while that's going, we'll get ready to publish this over to Shopify, and we can take a look at what that looks like. That one's probably not the best because we have a dark background there, but some of these lighter background ones look pretty good. So I would be a little more picky on which ones I would select there. Um, Now, when we publish this over um, to Shopify now, it is going to assign the correct variant images to each variant. In this case, it's really just the difference between the corded and the battery mockups, but it'll have a mockup assigned to each one. If I was doing something, the nice thing with that, if I'm doing something with different variant options, like maybe I'm doing a Mother's Day design where they can enter, between 2 and 5 names, and I have all of those added as individual variant options, those will actually get selected in Shopify as well. So as they're selecting their different number of names, those will show up. So whether it's like a color that changes, or if it's artwork variations that you're doing, any of that information now, the variants will sync up with the correct images automatically. By default, it'll try to use one of the images that you have selected here. But if one has been generated that matches, like say we're doing t-shirts, and you did not select a red t-shirt, if you have a red t-shirt mockup that's available, it's still going to select that red t-shirt mockup and assign it to that variant. So the variant still has some sort of mockup selected. Okay, it looks like that is done now. So, really, the only other things we'd want to change is if you want to make any adjustments to your pricing. Obviously, for Etsy, we're going to make sure to put in our tags, generate a video, any of that other stuff that you want to do here. You can do that as well. Um, Quick note on Shopify as well. Tags will also go through to Shopify now. Tags didn't go over earlier, so if you want to assign your tags here, they can populate over and have everything already preset for you as well. So with that's done, let's go ahead and push this on over to Shopify. Since this has live previews available, we're going to get asked here if we want to enable those. So we'll go ahead and click enable now. So that live preview is enabled. And on this particular one, we have two different live preview options available. So if I come in here to view all templates, you can see we have one here with a lighter background, one with a darker background. The one that's enabled by default is going to be this one here with the darker background. Since my text is dark, I want to have a lighter background. So I'm actually going to swap that and do the lighter background one here. And so we'll hit save on that. No. So let's see if there's an issue going on here. Looks like it might have still enabled. Let's see here. So apparently when we made that new update to Shopify, I may have a second issue there. So we'll definitely take a look at that. But let's just take a look here and update our personalization info and see if that went through correctly. All right. So now what we can do here is go edit in Shopify. And let me get logged into that here. And we'll go to preview in Shopify. So if we take a look at it here in Shopify and we go to personalize, you can see we do have our light background option available here. And if we enter in our artist and our song, those will show up here. Here's what I was showing you or talking about with the image cropper. Let me show you that real fast here as well. So if we upload another photo here, it's kind of a different sized image than the other one. You can see it shows up here with our little box here where we can kind of select what portion of the image we want to have on the product for us. So we can move that around. click on select, and that's going to go ahead and crop that image for us and place it on the product exactly where it was previously. So everything kind of goes through and lines up correctly. So that's how that preview works. So let's jump back over here and talk a little bit about the um, update process. Actually, here, let me share this real quick here. So here you can see the images are already assigned to the variant. On this one, obviously doesn't make much of a difference because it's just looking at the different base options. But if we added, say if we added other artwork variations, those would get assigned as well and be available for you there to select. So on the update process, if we come in here to update product now, pretty self-explanatory on these first few. We can update the title, the description, the tags. That's basically going to update any of those in Shopify for us to match what is in AnywherePOD. One thing to note on selecting this images option to publish over, it is going to remove all of the images that are in Shopify and replace them with the images that you have selected in AnywherePOD. So that's just a quick note on that. Variants will do a similar thing. So it'll set everything up to match the setup that you have in AnywherePOD. If you have variants selected and not images, what it will do if a image is already assigned to that variant in Shopify, it won't overwrite it. But if an image is not associated, like if you've added a new variant option, but you've got other mockups you don't want to delete, if you just leave variants selected, it's still going to assign that new variant image for you if it can. So that'll all kind of happen for you automatically. And then personalization info. This is similar to the old update personalization info that used to be in the dropdown. That will make sure that if you make any changes to the personalization options, maybe you're changing the live preview that's enabled, or if you don't have live previews enabled, if you change any of the fields that are available to be personalized, hitting update on the personalization info will make sure that that information is up to date and synced up with what's available inside of Shopify for you. So that's kind of how that that update process works. I think really the only other thing to note on this product with Etsy is that you'll want to add a message. Let's just publish this over here, and I'll show you how I would set up those personalization settings. Let's go view on Etsy here. So here, what I would do under description, you're going to make sure to turn on the personalization field. And then here, I would say enter the artist and song name you would like on the plaque. Please send photo through Etsy messages, or you can also, if you have a dedicated email that you want to be able to select accept images from, you can put that in here as well. A lot of times you'll see people mention either or Etsy messages or an email address. Then when an order comes in for this product, it's going to automatically go on hold in AnywherePOD. You can double check that the text personalization is all laid out correctly. And then you can get the photo that your customer sent you, upload that to AnywherePOD. You basically get a very similar screen to what I just showed you on Shopify with the image cropper. So you have all that same functionality. So even though you have to upload a photo, it's a pretty quick process to be able to do that and to be able to get that those orders processed. So that's the basics, I think, on how you would handle that product there as well. Okay. I think that pretty well covers kind of the demo portion that I wanted to do. We went over what we wanted to do with Shopify. So happy to answer any questions that you guys have. Again, it can be about anything you saw here. We have plenty of time left. I'm not going to keep you just for the sake of keeping you here. But if you have any questions at all, please feel free to drop those in the chat. And I'll go through here and see if we had other ones. All right. So Eva was asking, so you should not select the variants and go back to the mockups to download the one that was updated, then put it in your store. So you don't need to. That's kind of the whole point of having the update functionality here now. If you like, say, if I add a mockup, let's just do it here. If I go add images, let's find one that I didn't have here. I know I didn't have one with a family here. So we'll generate that. And then now if we want to get this mockup that we're generating over to Shopify, instead of having to download this mockup and go re-upload it or do any of that kind of stuff, what I can do here is go to update product. And I'm just going to check my box here for images and select update. And now that's going to actually publish all of the images back over to Shopify for me. So if I jump over to Shopify here, you can see here it's not here. If I refresh and scroll down, now that image is available here that I just uploaded. So it's going to perform that update for you. So you're not having to download mockups and try to upload them and figure out which ones have been updated and which ones haven't. So all that is available for you. So you don't have to kind of do that manual work. Alrighty, what other questions do we have here? Anybody else have any other questions at all? So any images that have been created and put in Shopify will need to be re-uploaded. So if you upload images directly to Shopify and select that update, yes, you're going to need to re-upload one of the two of those, or depending on how many you're uploading yourself, like that, you can add your own mockups here in AnywherePOD. So if I go here and select upload mockup, I can select any image. I'll just use one of my placeholder images here from before, and be able to upload that here. And then right here is the one that I just uploaded. So you can upload those here if you need to then do updates in the future. Although really, if you're using your own mockups and you've made a change to the artwork, you're probably going to need to, rebuild your custom ones if you're not using the mockup templates that are available in AnywherePOD as well. So cool, game changer. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, I think this is going to make the entire kind of Shopify process a lot easier and a lot more seamless with all of that kind of being lined up for you. Continuing, why have the play line on it anyway? I'd rather have a larger photo. I think you're referring to having like this whole play line down here at the bottom. And honestly, because that's what sells. So that's what people are buying. So it's important to think of what the customers want and what they're going to purchase more than what you want, because most of the time, especially as people like in the industry, we tend to see and like and want different things than what just kind of your I guess you could say normie would maybe want. So definitely consider that. I'd like if they just made larger plaques. Yeah, that would be nice. Um, any recent thoughts on ETA for the Add to Cart live preview? So there is a live preview when you add to cart. So like even on this one, let's see if I still have that open here. If I add in any changes here, let's upload a photo like so. And we'll just say name and song, add to cart. I'm on a demo, but the cart will actually show I should be able to get that to my cart. Maybe it's because I did that update one, didn't refresh. Let's try that one more time here. My updated personalization will show the thumbnail in the cart will show with my personalization fields, so they will be able to see that. So if I go name and song, add to cart, there we go. So you can see here that has my updated information on it, so that will show. My buyers think the play line will actually play the song. Yeah, it doesn't, and I mean this is the version that's quite a few are selling, and like I said before, I'm seeing this selling, especially this year, on a lot of other products that I didn't necessarily see it on as much last year. So things like coffee mugs and blankets. So definitely expand kind of the products that you might be thinking for this as well. Um, Yeah, so we did, maybe you hadn't joined yet, we did talk about the, adding a QR code, which is a possibility. You'll see a lot of people that'll also add the Spotify code. As I mentioned earlier, I would not do the Spotify code because it does not, um, it's against Spotify's policy. So you can use, the Spotify code in various places, but if you use it on a product that you're selling, that is potentially saying that Spotify endorses that product. So they don't allow you to use that code on any product that you sell. But yes, you could do an option for a QR code for sure. Uh, the button doesn't work and play the song. I can see it now. Yeah. So there are some places that are doing. I would love to be able to find a supplier for these, but there are some places that are doing things similar to this where they actually do play a song, which would be really, really neat. So, wouldn't be surprised if you see that in the POD world at some point. Um, I was referring to selecting. Yes, so that works on selecting those clock faces too. So I can send you a message on that later on. But if I had clip art that was here, that clip art will show in your cart as well. Should we put somewhere along the line the song doesn't actually play? So you can. I didn't necessarily see a lot of people putting that disclaimer on Etsy or even some Shopify stores, but it probably wouldn't be bad to put that in the description somewhere, so that someone doesn't think that it will actually play. I will say this is a product I know people have been selling for a few years now, very similar to this, that has been pretty popular every year. So, but putting that on there isn't a bad idea. Um, yeah. So I think what Eva's saying here, often I will add personalized name or personalized photo on my images. So we need to be re-uploaded. Yeah. So a lot of times people will put like a little badge, maybe even with an arrow saying, you can personalize the image or the text or whatever. That's especially handy on Etsy now where they don't allow placeholder text. Like I was saying earlier, where you couldn't do like your song title here, you could put in a placeholder actual song name and then have a little badge with an arrow that says, personalize name or whatever. What about audio from YouTube via QR code for a song in regards to copywriting? So the reason why, let me see if I can still have, if I still have that up. Yeah. So the reason why the codes like this are, um, like they're that code, that layout, that design of that code is unique and specific to Spotify. So it's like Spotify's own IP barcode, right? QR codes are not. So like QR codes can be used for a variety of things, a way to encode a URL or other information. So having the option for a QR code there, is not against any policies. If it doesn't say YouTube on it or that sort of thing, it's not even really even referencing them. So you can even have a QR code that links to a song on Spotify, right? It's just you're scanning it with your camera instead of through the Spotify app is kind of the difference there. Um, yeah, so the QR code in the design, like, they're not gonna know if you put a QR code in your design, there's no way to know what that's, like, actually linked to, right? So, it doesn't really, I guess, unless you scan it, but doesn't really matter. You can have that URL on there. I don't know if I would necessarily in my listing ask for, um kind of depends on how you want to handle that, right? So like you could have the option for the QR code, and then you could look up the link to the song yourself. I also saw on a few of these, might have even been one of these here, where they were actually asking for, yeah, is this one? Let me. So here they're asking for song, artist name, their photo, and they're also asking for a link to the song. So they're asking for the link to the song specifically, and then they're converting that to this code. You could do the same thing, but with a QR code instead. They may even have, yeah. So they even have an option here that has a QR code option. There you go. So they have one with where you can get it with the kind of Spotify code. What do they call that? Yeah, they call it a rhythm code. They don't really say that it's Spotify, but I don't think that would fly with Spotify's IP. But a QR code like that, you can certainly do. Alrighty. Any other questions? Let me know if you guys have any other questions, and we'll kind of wrap things up here. Alrighty, I think that is gonna cover it then. Not seeing any more questions. Now, I know the price point and everything here is different, but just as an example, looking at how many of these have sold. Now, again, I know, we're talking different price points, but this particular listing, this is the one that we were just looking at, which is one of the top ranked ones on Etsy. In the last 30 days, it's estimated that they've done 167,000 on that one listing based on the number of reviews that they've received, how many sales that probably equates to. Um, Even though I know they had that discounted, okay, so we'll cut that number in half. So they did somewhere around 80,000 in sales in the last 30 days on this one product. So this one is definitely a trending product. And those sales, I mean, they're just gonna continue to ramp up as you get closer and closer um, to Valentine's Day. So definitely something to think about. Uh, there's a fridge magnet my daughter got for Xmas that plays a song. We'll see if I can find it for you. It would be awesome if you could find them for a supplier. That is one I have been looking for a supplier for a little while. So if anyone ever finds a supplier for that, would definitely be interested because I think that product would just be killer year round. Um, Will we be able to rewatch? Yes, absolutely. So as soon as we're done here, this will be available on our YouTube channel. So you'll be able to see the replay there at any time. Alrighty. Perfect, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks again for joining us today. Hope everyone has a great rest of their week. A quick note, we will not be able to have a live stream again next week, but we should be back then again the week after that. So thanks again, everybody, for joining. Have a great week and take care. Thanks, everybody. Bye.